Well, Buki Shonibara is our next guest, and she is a strategic team member of the Bring Back Our Girls movement. Buki, you're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you very much.
Well, I was listening to Aisha Yusuf on the news at 10 yesterday, and she said that the Bring Back Our Girls movement was delighted that the 82 girls, were returned. But has it, in your mind, has this taken too long?
It's been 3 years, 3 weeks, and 1 day since we've been waiting before we had the additional 82 girls. So that means 3 years, 3 weeks, 1 day, it took us to have 106 girls back. It's been so long, but in the whole excitement of having our girls back, even though you're thinking about the fact that it has taken so long, there's just this sense of gratitude, this sense of joy, this sense of happiness that we've had some of the girls back. But has it taken so long? Yes, they should have been back long before now.
So for you now that these 82 girls are back, what do you think the next steps should be?
Okay, so now we need to now begin to talk about not just the verification, authentication, and reunification, which when we look at what is currently happening in terms of the process, even the authentication has not been done. They're still going to take them to Chibok, take pictures of them to Chibok for their identities to be verified by their parents. I think that should have actually, that turnaround time should have actually been closed. We shouldn't be talking about that like almost 3 days since that they returned. And then they now have the reunification. But then we also now we need to begin to talk about their reintegration, their resocialization, their rehabilitation. Those three are now really important, because it's one thing for them to come back. It's another thing for us to ensure that there is already a system in place that they plug into immediately, and we don't have to wait for so long. And that we would have done either by the readiness structure that we have prepared beforehand, and also from the lessons that we're learning from rehabilitating, resocializing the 24 girls that have returned so far.
But it's even difficult to know, because, nobody even knows the process. It says a security concern in terms of how the first 24 are being rehabilitated.
That's very concerning for us, because Nigerians need to know what's going on. The whole security concerns, the security details and all of that. Yes, we understand the need not to jeopardize sensitive security information, but you want to do that to the extent that it doesn't indeed cause an havoc to any ongoing process. That does not preclude the fact that there is need for information. So the question then is, what kind of information do people want to know? People want to know, one, find the girls that have returned. People want to know, where are they? We're not saying tell us the address. People also want to know what is going on, what's the process. If they're taking 3 months, giving an example, going through some security briefing, after that, do they go through some healthcare and some psychosocial support? If they are doing that, what goes into that? What outcome, what results do we expect from that? And then after that, what next? Are we talking about schooling for them? Are we talking about a remedial? I saw a short documentary that was produced by a particular media house on the 21 girls that have come back. It gives an idea, but it is still not clear enough as to exactly what is going on. So the question is, yes, we don't want security details, processes to be jeopardized, but Nigerians need to know that by now, they have come back. What is going on? What should we expect to see? What result would we see after that? And it is important that somebody is communicating that, not just to us, but to the girl child outside and to the whole world that is also concerned about this issue.
What about their families? What has it been like in Chibok? Are they, a little nervous about the state that their daughters are in right now?
So there's the initial happiness, the initial joy. Oh my God, 82 have come back. But least in that happiness is the speculation that is my child part of them. So for a lot of them, it is the question of, is the list out? As at yesterday at the Unity Fountain, some of the parents were still asking, have you seen the list? Is my daughter's name there? So for them, there's this whole, okay, we were excited, but right now I need to know what is going on if my daughter is there. And that puts a responsibility on the table for the federal government to ensure that we begin to close the turnaround time, that we achieve this different processes to the point of the final full reintegration. At this point, learning from what has happened before, we should have ensured that the list has come out way before now.
You were able to help out, with the verification process the last time. Your group was able to confirm that indeed the 21 girls that were released were indeed Chibok girls. Right now, they have released the 80, the names 82. Of the 82 girls. Have you been able to cross-check those names?
Those 82 names did not come out until last night. And so we have not been able to do anything. But the same way we have done, right from Amina Nkeki, who was the first one that came back on May 19th last year, till another girl, Mayanga, and then the 21, and then the last girl before this 82. What we did was, of course, the list that we have from the Sabo report. We've been able to cross-check and have the Chibok parents and the Chibok community also verify. We've not been able to start that process because the names did not come out until yesterday. Now that it has come out, it means we will begin that process. And at some point today, the Bring Back Our Girls group would also release its own verification of those names, using the process that we have been using before now.
So we also hear that in this particular incident, there was a swap with with the Boko Haram militants, to ensure that these girls were returned. And there are people who are nervous about that. What's the take of the Bring Back Our Girls group on that swap?
You see, hostage prisoner swap is not new. I mean, in situations like this, is what we expect, is what happens. When we look at what the U.S. government did, they've actually swapped 5 prisoners for 1 soldier. Israel has done the same thing. Palestine has done the same thing. So this is a process that seems to be the norm. What is then important is when we put ourselves in the shoes of the parents who have been waiting for their children to come back, we would realize that no sacrifice, nothing is too much to have these girls come back. And this is also upon the backdrop that they've stayed for 3 years that long, and also seeing the report that is coming out and this event of what Boko Haram is using young girls to do. We don't want our girls to stay that long. I mean, look at some of the pictures that came out yesterday, the images that came out. Some of the girls, one of them had an amputated limb, another one is on wheelchair. The longer they stay, the more difficult it is. So prisoner swap, it's not new. It's something that is good. It explains the premium that a nation places on its citizens. The responsibility then falls back on the government, that knowing that these people are now within our system, to then put a measure in place to make sure that these people are cleared out from our system so they don't become a menace to the society.
How soon do you think these girls should be back with their families?
As soon as possible. The whole process of rehabilitation and resocialization, we cannot disassociate the parents from that process. So reuniting them with their parents should be an immediate thing. I think that should have actually been done, yesterday and at most today, not the old trying to still authenticate. That's one. Then two, because their parents are those that they know as family, that's their safe place. That's where they are comfortable before they were taken. Now they've gone through that harrowing experience for 3 years. Their parents should also be part, right from the beginning, of helping them to bounce back. So it is not proper, actually, to separate them, just like we saw with the 21 girls. There was a lot of complaints that were coming from some of the parents that they don't have access to their daughters and all of that. We don't expect that should continue. We should learn from the outcome that has produced and act better in this sense. So the reunification should be done on time. And the parents, and let me also put it out, that the government also needs to take responsibility for managing the parents who would not find their children in this list of 82. I mean, the psychological torture, the trauma, they've been waiting for so long. I met Esther Yakubu yesterday. She came to the Unity Fountain. She was full of joy. She was jumping and everything. And I asked her, should your daughter, Dorcas Yakubu, should she not be on the list, what would you do? She said, when Amina Nkeki came back, I was happy. When all of these girls have been coming back, I've been happy, even though I know my daughter is not there. So even if she's not there in this 82, I am happy that daughters of some of my friends have come back, and it gives me hope. But we need to manage the reality that will happen to them, the reality of the psychological torture, the trauma, the question that why me? Why is my daughter not there? So there has to be a system that we put in place, that the federal government takes the responsibility of putting in place to also manage this set of parents.
How are you also managing the fact that you have not been able to see these girls despite years of campaigning for their release?
You know, one thing that we have maintained is that Bring Back Our Girls is an advocacy group. We are a single issue group. What we want, what we came out for on April 30th, 2014, is that we want the quick rescue of the Chibok girls. And knowing the large scale of abduction that has been happening, we took that on also, and we said we want all other abductees to be brought back. So for us, success factor to us is the return of the girls that we've been calling for. Success factor to us is that it is done on time, it is done reasonably, it is done effectively, that the process is managed properly, and all these results are being achieved. Once we are able to see those results, our work is being done. It then is then left to the federal government if they want us to have access to the girls. We've not had access to them. They've so far when they've been coming, we've not been asked to come and see them. But really, that's not important to us. What's important to us is that these girls are coming back and they are being reunified with their family, and that is our responsibility, and that is what we will keep doing.
Well, Buki Shonibare, strategic team member of the Bring Back Our Girls group, we have to thank you for coming on Sunrise Daily.
Thank you very much.